Okay, red light's on. We're live. Make sure we got people in there.
Waiting.
55 people. All right, we're live. I'm coming, fishing friends. Oh, all right. We're on location. Sorry, we're a few minutes late here. We had to get everything going. What's happening, fishing friends? Welcome to another Friday Night Live. As you can see, it's a little bit different. We're on location. We got Mr. Dizzle.
What up?
And Mr. Mike. He's actually the reason we're up here. They're up at a beautiful cabin here, and I'll let him tell you about it. Garrison's Resort. Gorgeous place. He invited us up to come fishing with him, talk fishing lures, test some of his new lures and stuff. So, Mike, how are you?
Doing great. I appreciate you guys coming up to God's country and sharing our experiences up here at Garrison's Resort up in Shevlin, Minnesota. As you see, they do a great job of accommodations up here, and the fishing's been kind of slow right now, but normally it's, of course, I blame it on you guys showing up.
Yeah, we were promised 200 fish a day. It's not quite been that.
Up to 200. But it's Garrison's Resort.us. It's a unique website. They have 8 cabins, a reunion cabin, owned, renovated, and they're getting ready to do another one here next week. Actually, gutting one and starting all over again. Nice stuff, great prices, easy in and out, small lake. It's just
And really here.
just easy.
Just to show you real quick, because I was super surprised when I walked in. I know this is going to be a little shaky and stuff. This is the cabin. This is the main one. Mike was nice enough to give Dizzle and I our own cabin, which was really sweet. So we're just down the road from them. But yeah, very nice cabins. Everything's new in them. I've stayed in some cabins that are a little sketchy. This is not that. They all have Wi-Fi. That's why we're able to do this. So yeah. So tonight, listen, we're looking to have fun and talk lures. We've got Mike here. He's designed some really neat. Some of these we've even got. Can these be?
Yeah, you can show them. They're getting ready to go.
There's even some new ones, some new sizes here. You're going to see some better close-ups and stuff in my videos. Members, I've got a members only kind of behind the scenes of Dizzle and I traveling up here, showing our cabin and all that. But tonight's really going to be about you all. What do you want to know about some Thunderhawk stuff? We've got some of his rods. We can show the Tyco rods that are really neat. We've got to try a whole bunch of different models of those lures. So we're gonna let it roll with y'all.
Yes.
What do we got, old pewter watcher Dizzle?
We're my man Debo, fellow Pepsi guy. Nick.
Usually I'm not. I'm Coke Zero all the way,
But
but
some bad comments about Pepsi.
Yeah.
Other than that,
Pickens were slim here. Usually Coke Zero for me. How about, so Mike, take us through what is, well, I already know, we talked about this earlier, but the best seller that you guys have is this, the lipless. So take us through what kind of went through your head creating this, putting this together.
our lipless, we call it a sergeant. As you see, all lures I design try to give a paramilitary name to it. So this one we call the sergeant. From day one, this has been a go-getter, the #1 seller by far. But I love fishing lipless baits, and I think it's a lost art, if you will. The reason I like fishing lipless, it covers the whole water column if you want to. But the problem is, I've seen over the years, I've used all brands, all shapes, all sizes, and I really want to create a lipless crankbait that does it all. And more importantly, I wanted some options. Like I want rattling one. More importantly, I want a silent one, because hardly anybody ever creates a silent lipless anymore. So I created a sergeant. And again, I wanted to create something that does everything and get rid of some of the problems that I've had with using lipless in the past. So the biggest thing you see on ours is I created swivels inside the hook hangers, and both front and back. And reason for that is a lot of times, as you know, you lose a lot of fish on a lipless bait. So, and I found I did a lot of research why we think that was. It's because when they bite it, they get too much leverage and they kick off. Also, when you're yo-yoing, fish come up and slap at it. And so I think we eliminated that. We showed that on lake to you, how a lot of times they come in when the fish still has it across the face, side to side, T-bone it. And a lot of times guys get a misconception. Well, maybe I got the wrong color because it's only got one hook in it, or maybe they're just slapping in it. Now, most of the time, if you look at underwater research, when fish hit it, they actually crush it like that, but they got too much leverage and they kick it out, or you created too much pull on it. So we eliminated that with the swivels on there. Also, what we did is we created with the sergeant. This was the hard part to do too. I wanted one that fished nose down, tail up.
What I noticed yo-yoing it too. Y'all have seen me yo-yo. This one's a little bit different. Some of the real heavy ones will just kind of drop. This one has kind of like a shaky nose down. And I don't fish them on the bottom. That Mike can tell you about that. But I noticed just on the drop, like above suspending fish was cool because it's like this kind of dying, slight shudder to it. And this is the silent. That's all we fished up here. This color was it in jerkbait, lipless. Dizzle actually got on the bite and figured it out.
Thanks to this.
I was gonna give it that gold color. But anyway, go ahead.
But
Sorry.
didn't somebody tell them what color to throw?
Oh,
Just
Jesus.
asking.
I do have to say also, these hooks are ridiculously
Super sharp.
sticky sharp.
And that's
We,
and one of the things when I started designing lures for Thunderhawk, I got with Hawk, and I decided, hey, look, everything we do, let's try to fish it so they can take it right out of the package and go fish it. So we did that. You don't have to go change out the hooks. You don't have to change out the hardware, like everything else we do. Try to make it easy as possible to go fish. But with that nose down, tail up idea, you could use it on a rock as well. That being you can fish like a jig, actually. You can slow roll it on rock. It'll just pull up and down. And it'll sit nose down, tail up like a feeding fish, especially if you're bed fishing. I don't, that's the bad word to some people.
Well,
But to go nose down, tail up. And also what it does is bring the tail up where they're actually grabbing the hook on the bite. Really cool. We were able to come up with that. And that was the real hard part to do so what we got coming now is the 2 new sizes because of demand and the talks we've had with several people. The originals coming at the original size, both 1/2 ounce and 3/4. Only difference is one is silent. It's 1/2 ounce and 3/4 has rattles in it to give it the extra weight. So what we did, we listened to our consumers, plus also something I wanted is we carried a smaller one and a larger one. The little one we're going to be releasing probably, we're hoping by Black Friday. It's going to be called a little LIL Sergeant. It weighs about 3/8 of an ounce. And the big one, I'm not real sure yet the weight exactly. We haven't got that on the specs yet, but it's much bigger as you see, but it's not overbearing. And the hardest part to do we wanted that exact action that we have on our original sizes, the little shimmy on the fall. We created different ways to retrieve it. So we wanted that same action in our bigger and smaller one. That was the hard part, especially the little one. We really worked hard to create that same true action on the little one. And again, both of them sit nose down, tail up, the big one and the little one. And we think they're going to be phenomenal.
this little one for us bank fishing friends. This is that iced tequila. Y'all know that I freaking love. Pinkish purple, a little orange on the belly. It's matte. But this little small size for all the small ponds and stuff around us, I think it's going to be sick.
I do also got to say with this color that I had gotten, this gold, it's really kind of hard to see on the camera, but it's almost got like a
holographic,
kind of holographic
iridescent.
tiger stripey kind of look to it. That
I think it's like a holographic tape.
and it pops in the water. And that was really what the key was yesterday for me anyway, because it was a pretty windy kind of, it was extremely tough day fishing.
Kind of windy.
Kind of windy.
Yeah, we came in with windburn and our souls blown out of us because it was so hard of fishing.
But yeah, it was that little holographic stuff in there. It would catch light and the fish couldn't help themselves but to react to it.
We were
Amazing.
30-degree cold front with up to 25-mile-an-hour gusts, and we're catching them on the lipless yesterday.
Yeah, the few days before we got here, it had been in the 70s, like 75. The first day we go out to fish, it's like a high of 55. So it's like, dang it. Lows, we had frost warnings. It's like, damn, we were like a week too late. But a lot of questions I see about line.
Yep.
How about line? What do you prefer?
I do a lot of the same things. I still do go braid a fluorocarbon leader still today.
For lipless?
Even lipless.
Really?
Gives me a little bit of shock absorption in the leader. Fluorocarbon, I use about 15 pounds. I stick the basic stuff, the Cigar Red Label. It's cheap, but it's worked for me for probably 10
I
years.
used it for, yep.
I use a brand of braid. It's Finn's braid. It's pink. I use it for everything. And it's really smooth casting. So I do a double uni knot, hook it up, about a 4 or 5 foot leader on it, and I go at it. Now again, I want to feel it because this thing is so much to it. I can feel everything going on with that with braid to a leader too. I don't get that mushy feeling out of fishing it.
I think we're both 15.
Actually, I was throwing 12-pound mono.
Oh, really? Okay.
12-pound mono on mine. I thought I was able to, once it got down to that grass, rip it out a little bit better.
Yep.
Had a little bit of a bounce.
That
to
is
it.
true. Yeah.
And it would give it a little bit extra of a shimmy flutter in there too.
Let's see, rods. Now would be a cool time to talk about the lipless rod. I got to test that out, and that was a BA rod. I also saw a question. Let's see, you've got a bunch of questions.
Yeah, I got a bunch of questions. A lot of them were kind of just touched on right there.
Oh, we're going to be doing a couple giveaways. So at about the hour mark, we've got a couple good giveaways. Depending on how many people we have in here, I don't know. I can't see the numbers for our people, but depending on numbers, we might have a special one at about an hour and a half. If we have the OGs, enough people in here, we only got like 90 people. Then I don't think we might not do it.
We are
you can have some good folks watching. 110. Okay, so we got to get that up. Invite your aunt, your uncle, your neighbors. By an hour and a half, we'll have a special one. Hopefully. So, yeah, stupid uncle. He said he's in here watching us too. So.
While you guys are sitting here watching this fantastic Friday Night Live, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button too. It's free. Doesn't hurt that bad.
Sports old Debo.
Debo will come over and kiss it for you.
Yes. Except no. What else we got for questions?
All right, let's
Mr. Computer Man.
We touched on best line to use.
Oh, did they make a suspending model? No gators, no suspending model. Any of that in the works?
No,
not in the works.
Mike kind of covered the sizes. A lot of statements here. Real big fans of the A10. Real big fans of that. Let's see.
Glad to hear that. That was a hard one to make.
12-pound mono. Jim agrees. I agree. That's a great use for it. Let's see what else we got here.
Questions. We had another line.
No suspending. Lil Rich. No, we haven't had any s'mores yet.
There is a fire going out there.
There's a fire going. Yeah.
Let's see. So for lipless, I love. How about this one? I've seen a couple people say I bought some of these.
Yeah.
Based on my recommendation. Hank, if you haven't checked it out, go check out Hank Baskeek's video on this. He did an awesome job showing this thing off. I've showed it before, but if you want to talk about this one, it's kind of a neat one that you don't see every day.
The Papa Walker, it does. We did a collaboration with California big bass guy, Jerry Rego, on this. It's a walking bait, but it's a chugger. It does all kinds of things. What's very cool that Baskey pointed out in his video that you can fish this so many different ways. You can slow walk it, you can burn it back and forth, you can chug it and spit. It does a ton of different things. So what we did with Jerry designed this, he created a soft tail in the back. It helps it glide a lot better, but more importantly, the hook up to land ratio is very, very high on these because that tail collapses and it doesn't have another hook to get it away with it.
Yeah.
So it collapses, the fish get in their mouth really good. And it's been a huge seller this year, the Papa Walker.
That's a neat one. I've showed that before. To me, like the first time I saw it, I'm like, oh my gosh, the pike are absolutely going to destroy this, which I love pike fishing. Got to catch some of those. Dizzle kept asking to smell my fingers. I'm like, that's weird, bro. So no, you're not going to. We've got to catch some pike. None on a frog. I was hoping we would. We can talk about that next. I should have brought the glitter bomb. Dang it.
Yeah,
one.
There you go.
Oh my gosh. So this color, y'all, I think this is going to be a sneaky color that we're going to have to talk about because y'all know the Old Smoky and the Booyah Pad Crasher, kind of a secret color. It's got the like the black flake all throughout it. This one, when I saw it in the package, I was like, this looks dumb as hell. I don't if you were tripping on something when you did this one, but in the sun, it's just got all kinds of, it's glitter. It's like, it's full of glitter. And in the sun, it's got this kind of cool sparkle to it because the bottom, I mean, that's mostly what they're seeing. This kind of silverish white glitter.
Mm-hmm.
But Mike, tell you a quick kind of story about this one, cool, that I've got to hear the gentleman that he helped, or the gentleman that helped him kind of make it and walk through it, Mikey. Kind of a neat story.
Yeah, Mikey Schumacher at the time. Mikey has parents have a cabin about 3 miles down the road. Pretty cool. Mikey is now 16 years old. When he was just young guy, 12, 13, 14 years old, really started fishing with him a lot, taking him out and doing stuff. And the kid's amazing and a bait caster even early on. What I come to find out that he was taught by a guy named Jeremiah Hine, who lives up here in Minnesota. And Jeremiah, baby, one of the best frog fishermen in all of Minnesota. This guy's won a ton of tournaments, or he just found a way to win up here in the North Country. And what he told me was that he got tired of getting his head kicked in these tournaments, so he found a way that nobody else was doing, and frog fishing, catching 5 of the biggest fish he could. And so he taught Mikey at the age of 6 how to use a bait caster and frog fish. and Mikey's gone crazy with it ever since. Mikey's a frog fanatic. So we got with Mikey, and Mikey is also his son of a Purple Heart recipient, Tom Schumacher. So we did a collaboration with Mikey and Jeremiah, and we created a frog. And Mikey, this is all Mikey Jeremiah's input. We created it where it comes, again, right out of the package. It already has the tails cut to the length that you need them. We created inside it, already has a couple rattles that people, a lot of the tournament guys put in there to add a little weight and a little sound. And we created a nose cone up front, so you're not constantly fixing that, and you're not always squeezing water. It does contain water sometimes, but the biggest thing we did is the hookup to land ratio is very, very good. And this was Mikey and Jeremiah's design, and it walks really, really well. So with that, we did a package with Mikey, released it at ICAST last year. It's been a really big hit so far.
Bass has had a good one. Yeah, one thing I will add, like Mike said, the first time I looked at it, I'm like, man, is this going to be too skinny? Because y'all know I like a good gap size there. And this was important when I caught fish tonight. It was scarce, but I caught, let's see, one yesterday and one tonight. Y'all know I always look for to make sure the frog flips out of the way. The one I caught tonight, it was turned out of the way, which I never hear people talk about that. So it's not too thick there. But the thing I noticed here with this already being, it's almost like exposing your hook as I was checking it today, because this is right here ready to go and just kind of squishes. So yeah, good hookup ratio on it. It's a neat little frog, and I think that's going to kind of be my secret weapon.
There's a couple little things too, little secrets that tournament guys do all the time, or good frog fishermen do all the time. And most of them you'll see on the bottom of them, and Jeremiah came up with this idea too, that they break up a silhouette by camouflaging, what they call it. They'll take an opposite color marker, and so it breaks up a silhouette.
Yep.
And most of ours we did that with on the bottom, corresponding colors. Again, that guys, when they diehard frog fishermen do crazy stuff with their frogs, and they boil them, make them softer. They put the weights in it. So we again eliminated all that stuff, and you buy it right out of the package, throw it on there.
Yeah, I still trim the legs on this. Even I mean, I trim the legs down to here, but at least they're not like the super crazy ones, and definitely soft enough. I was like, oh yeah, the bottom color, which I think is big, like Spro, the Freak. They do that kind of yellow camo. I think more need to do that just to kind of break it up so it's not a flat, one color.
And this frog already won 3 tournaments this summer up here in Minnesota. Just on frogs, they crushed it with it.
It's my kind of guy.
And there, again, you can see more of the camouflage on this. You can see the different colors. It breaks out up as a silhouette. As fish, again, look up at it, and you want to break it up so it looks more natural that way.
Let's see, who was it? Was it Bassless that had one? Mike, how do you go about choosing colors for your A10s? Will you eventually have all colors on all sizes? So do the colors differentiate on the big versus?
Yeah, especially we got the big, the normal, the original size, and we have the junior. We also have the magnums. We're constantly adding colors to that. We're constantly looking for it. But again, it's one of those things. Thunderhawk, I want to keep organic. I just don't want to create a color just to create colors. I want to see a demand for it.
Sure.
If somebody wants it, and this is a prime example of something like that we created.
Where did this come from?
There used to be an old color out years ago that this came from, and this kind of was a derivative of our purple sunset color.
It did, because this is the iced tequila.
This kind of came. We wanted a subdued version of this, which is our sunset purple. This was one of the original colors we came out with. And believe it or not, the first 2 years, this was the #1 selling color in the country, the sunset purple. So we wanted a more subdued color. It's kind of a matte iridescent finish to it. But again, you can put those two together, you'll see that it just varies by the water clarity. It really mimics a bluegill in the water. It really does.
I just like it because it's purple and purple catches. It's not talked about enough. And what about your design? This is one thing. I just did a video on this, actually, was fishing this on one of my lakes. The design about this, which I think is cool, because I think I said it a couple of times on my video. It reminds me of the old Lazy Ike. That factory used to be down right by us in Iowa, like an hour from me, where they made the Lazy Ike, which is like kind of a C-shaped lure. So it's like you took like a Strike King, 1.5, and mixed it with this flatfish, so you get this cool kind of shape. It's interesting. You don't see many doing this where it's all integrated. Maybe like a wiggle warp would be close, where it's like the bill's integrated in. But what was kind of the thought process behind this?
The whole idea is I love fishing square bills, and I love fishing flat-sided balsa square bills. All different variations throughout the time. And what was really frustrating me, again, everything I try to create, I'm not reinventing the wheel. I think I'm just making the wheel for fit my needs and other fishermen's need, and guys that buy and spend money on product, they're fit their needs. That the best thing I try to achieve in this was I wanted a square bill that does a lot what a flat side square bill does. Fish shallow, come through cover and not get hung up all the time, or not break in the rocks, because that's where the fish are at when you're fishing a square bill. Yep. They're in the cover. So what we did with this is I created, with Hawk and I sat down, drew up a lot of different plans, come up with different stuff. And then what we put together also, this is semi-flat too. It's not fully flat because again, we're making it with our mold, but it's very, very consistent. You take it around the package of fish just like the next one does.
Yeah, the thing that Mike showed me about this, which is neat. I mean, how many times have you slapped one? How many times have you slapped a bill of a 1.5 and busted it? So that's not only reinforced, but when he made the bill, it's in line with the hook. So the hook is up hidden under that. So when you come crawling up over stuff, this is protected back and behind there, which I thought was neat.
And we put a weight transfer system in it that doubles as a knocker. You'll see in there that it casts, it goes in the back, so it casts a lot better. Because flat sides are hard to cast sometimes, like a potato chip. So it gives it's more streamlined on the cast. It comes back down, automatically goes back down to the resting position. And also what we wanted to try to do, I didn't want nose down like this, not natural. So we created a system by putting that ball in the back instead of the front of the hook. It's more of an upright position. But then as soon as you touch something, it goes over it. And what I did was this hook works in conjunction with this bill, believe it or not. That this bill deflects off everything and will not allow this hook point to go any further than this bill right here. So it deflects a lot better.
Well, what he's talking about too is if you've ever made, I guess if you're a crankbait maker, if you change hooks, I guess probably a better way to put it. How many times have you changed a hook and the hook point will come up over the bill, right? Well, it can't do it here. That's not possible. So that's kind of what he's saying is it's hidden.
And another thing, but testing R&D and research underwater and how people get snagged a lot of times, believe it or not, is a transition point from the head to the bill. And what we're seeing, we saw a ton of grass on the first prototypes and other crankbaits we were throwing, where the grass gets stuck right here at the transition point. So
like
when it comes through, believe it or not, that little bit, it would get stuck right there and then your whole cast be ruined. So we eliminated that, made it flat. And believe it or not, I got the idea, A10, I took a picture, side profile picture, and turned into a drawing of an A10 Warthog.
Which is my favorite. Dad, if you're watching.
And you look at the A10 Warthog and put this side by side, you'll see the same angle.
Huh, I never thought of it.
And then also I used the eyes.
I say the look down eyes.
So that's where we got the A10 from.
Now you just need the rattles in here. Sorry. Now you need the rattles in here so when you rattle it goes. I'll have to work on that.
That was the whole idea behind it. I love fishing flat-sided balsa crankbaits, but I hated fishing flat-sided balsa crankbaits. You spend a ton of money, you break them, they're inconsistent. So we just try to eliminate all that. And the whole idea was just come through, just like the A10 goes down shallow, beats the crap out of everything, takes off. That's what this is designed to do.
Right. They're great. And I can't get over, you pointed out with the lipless, how they're that T on both hooks inside the mouth. And I'm not that smart of a guy when it comes to fishing.
You could have just stopped after that.
I fish what feels good. I fish what feels right to me. And I don't really pay attention to those type of little things. But I would say all of the fish that I caught with a lipless, they were all exactly like that. They hooks on both sides. You were saying, a lot of people are like, oh, they're barely swiping at it because they're only getting that back hook in their mouth. Well, it's not necessarily the case. They can't throw. Oh, that's a good reminder to tell us about or tell everybody about the shenanigans yesterday when we were on the boat together. But, the Bigfoot stories.
Oh, yeah. We'll have to get into story time here. So Mike was nice enough. I don't know, how many people do we have in here? Mike was nice enough. There may or may not be a couple $100 gift cards being given away here. As long as we got enough, 134. Get those numbers up. Come on.
Get those.
Mike said, yeah, we've got a couple $100 gift cards. And like I said, maybe a surprise if we get closer to that 200 mark. But let's see. So that's about an hour. We'll give away those. There was a question here, Mike. Pat Fahey, really interested in a silent lipless. When would I throw one?
All the time. That's fun. Yeah, all the time. What I say that is again, I think a lipless is underutilized compared to years ago. Years ago, people were throwing lipless all year, everywhere. It got really big down south, and then the red colors and the grass and all that stuff. From Gunnersville to Fort to Texas to Rayburn to up north, you catch a ton of them. Anytime the silent, it really excels when you have pressured lakes. It also excels like we saw the cold front came in. It's quieter. It's got a different sound and pitch to it. But people don't realize that even a silent bait makes noise underwater. And we're going to say that it is a little clicking by the hardware that moves back and forth. And actually, they actually can hear that.
And you've got vibration. It's almost like if you think of the stealth blade chatterbait, it's still got a thump. You can still feel water movement, just a lot more subtle. I'm thinking, like for me, when I think of these pressured spots where it's decently clear, or well, I should say stained to clearer, in the muddier stuff, I tend to go to a rattle. I mean, you can still try it because it might be so pressured and they're so used to it. Try that silent, but I'm thinking like stained water, highly pressured. And this one, I think this small one for around here, I think is just going to absolutely crush. One of my biggest fish in my area was on a little 1/4 ounce lipless. So
the biggest thing in variable would be like I use rattle baits a lot when I'm really burning them. I mean, absolutely burn them, or I'm going to bang them off rocks more. I use again you're looking more of a reaction bite or really extremely dingy, dirty water, and then I go back to the rattle. But majority of the time, I'm throwing a silent and getting that action that I want out of it. And they're visual predators. Plus, they fill it with a lateral line, and they hear a lot more underwater than you think. And then especially high pressured lakes, I wouldn't use a rattle bait.
Yeah, it's like Pat Fahey was asking, what's the biggest? They just made a larger size. It doesn't have weights. So this is the silent. So it doesn't have rattles in it. I don't know what the weight will actually be, but that's their largest one. So that's a new one coming up. Should be hopefully out by Black Friday. Let's see. I've hooked a lot of. Okay. Any discount codes tonight? They're asking. I don't think we set any up tonight.
We could use another one I got. Uncle Steve 20.
Okay.
I give him 20% off tonight.
Dang.
All one word, doesn't matter.
Uncle Steve 20.
Uncle Steve 20. So I linked the Thunderhawk site below. So if you guys go check that out, or if you've got a tackle warehouse order, I left my tackle warehouse link down there too. But that would only be on the Thunderhawk site. So you go Uncle Steve 20. So that's very nice. Thank you guys.
Yeah,
appreciate that for the Fish and Friends.
Sorry, we can't get all fancy and post these onto the live.
Oh, right. And that's the color. So people were asking, swim jig. I've got those. When would you throw a swim jig? This one actually we were throwing today. So the lake was full of grass. And this thing, I did the video of, it's kind of been B-roll and showing skipping stuff. This was the one. And this little thing as just like an all around, they call it the grunt because it's, it's doing all the grunt work, right? It's doing all the hard work in there. And people are kind of scared of the small hook. And I was honestly going to tell Mike today that I think you should move to one hook bigger because the bait keeper up here is right on the nose. And that might even be something to consider like for larger swim baits. I did with the swim bait today and it didn't come off at all. I was honestly surprised. I've usually run like a chunk or something on here. It's a smaller hook and that's how Mike created it. So Mike, you can kind of talk about that. Why this small, because I mean, in Debo fingers here, if you're wondering, that hook is the size of one Debo segment. It's about an inch. So just to kind of give you feeling of it. What was kind of the thought behind that one?
The whole idea, I love little jigs. Again, the same thing. I love fishing certain things. I think a necessity. What I saw on smaller jigs is the hook size. They're lighter hooks. They got way too big of a hook on it. It's like a gaff. As Dahlberg told me before, you're not fishing for tuna. And
is it Uncle Steve's or Uncle Steve?
Uncle Steve.
Oh, sorry.
with an S?
No, no S. Okay.
Just Uncle Steve. Okay. Uncle Steve 20. I think you had it right. Anyway, sorry.
So, but I wanted a smaller hook on it because you look at, again, research how fish get leverage to spit. I mean, a lot of times you lose a lot of jig fish, and it's not because of the hookup, it's the landing of it with too big of a hook. There's too much leverage. And again, the same thing I want to create with this. I wanted a jig that I could skip real easy. I love skipping, as you saw.
Was that great? Yeah, he was a master at skipping the docks.
This dude is ridiculous at skipping ducks.
And then also I wanted to come through riprap. I fish a lot of jigs on riprap. And this, we designed the head to do that, the angle of the line tie, everything, the size of the hook, and also with the diameter of the weed guard. You notice it's kind of thin, but again,
It's enough.
Does its job. And
it's not as thin as some swim jigs, but it's enough to, I mean, it's
right.
Because it's shorter too, that helps. That stiffens it up a little bit.
So what we did too is we created this hook just for this jig, and it is stout,
Yeah.
as you've seen. And like when you fish a tube, same thing is I wanted a little bit of bite. So a fish can grab it and grab a little flesh, gives you that much more time to set the hook. You'd be amazed how many times you actually get bit on stuff and not know it. So this actually grabs flesh because the hook point actually points up. And so what we did, we created what I think is a great little jig. We hand tied it. And I love living rubber and all the properties of that go into a living rubber skirt. But I hate working with it, and I also don't like the color, limited amount of colors you can do.
Yeah.
So we created this new silicone that has living rubber characteristics, but we can create the colors, and we also hand tie some tinsel in there too. And the whole thing's hand tied together. We think we hit a home run in the show.
That's a great little jig.
People
And before I forget, I was going to say around rock, like fishing from the bank specifically, I like a lure that's just a little bit lighter. And how about that? So currently they come in a 3/8 and a 5/8.
We are working on it right now because again, we're listening to our customers. We're working on a 1/4 ounce jig right now.
Perfect for bank fishing around rocks. Otherwise around grass and vegetation, 3/8 was awesome.
Real quick, I do also have to say, I mean, everybody knows I love my War Eagle jigs. I traditionally, when throwing jigs, I don't have to worry about, cutting off to retie on a different color. These do a great job of not getting hung up on rocks and things like that. Fantastic job of not getting hung up.
Question, somebody said, is this one of them? So if people ask Mike's favorite color, and this is mine too. This one is called Kissimmee gill. And Mike was saying when they were down fishing at Kissimmee, the bluegill there were like this dark blackish green with some purple on them. And this is just black and purple. And I'm like, oh, black and purple with some reflective tinsel in there. Yeah, that's what I was throwing today too.
This one as well, dove snot.
That's my color right there. I love that color.
Yeah, so kind of like his play on Okeechobee, a little bit different, blue and brown, green pumpkin.
And Mike, you like to use the grenade as a trailer on that.
I use the grenade a lot as a trailer, and when I have it, depends on what I'm fishing for. And again, the forage, I use the junior or the small side, or use even a big one, as you saw. And I liked it because what it does, I kind of stroke it like a Carolina stroke, if you will, like a swim jig.
Yep.
Up and down, and you'll see the
Alabama shake.
Moves up and down, and you saw it yet that you did it sideways and you catch a fish. So again, there's no tentacles, if you will, on the back of a grenade, but there's a ton of action in it.
I will say I was showing Debo today because I rigged it up sideways, I guess, vertically versus horizontally.
Does that code work for everything on the website?
Yes, everything.
Somebody said, does it not work for the frogs? It should work lures to lines.
And when you would pause it and just let it, fall and shimmer down, it had a weird little, not like a dying motion, but it kind of like oh my God, I'm trying to get out of here kind of flicker, struggling, kind of, I might be dying, don't predator fish, stay away from me, that kind of stuff. So,
remember people used to use chunks all the time, pork frogs and this, that, and the other. So if you take the little grenade and put it on there as a chunk too, you don't have any obstruction whatsoever on the hook. It creates a chunk, pitching and flipping.
I just thought of something. Speaking of chunks, also they've got these, which y'all have seen this on my my kayak. Mike came out with these scissors, which are pretty nice. So it's a scissor, so it's a braid scissor, the serrated and back here, but it's also got your split ring pliers there. So that's kind of my do it all to have to make sure I've got those in case I need to change out. But I was thinking, your chunk, I don't know how well we're going to be able to do this with the tail. We might have to sacrifice some of that length. But just thinking about Dizzle rigging this up vertically.
Should have done that.
Go ahead, Dizzle. I'm just gonna cut that off.
What do they say? What do they say about scissors there, Debo?
Go ahead.
I figured he was going to say, "Oh, they're so handy."
Oh, they're so handy. Yeah, if you guys ever need scissors, they're so handy to keep with you.
This guy. The one thing that I traditionally do, but actually didn't the last couple of days fishing, is I didn't cut down the skirt a whole lot. It has a nice flutter to it, things like that. I traditionally like a very compact, kind of small profile for my lures. And that is kind of a bad.
Give it a little split in it. That could look cool. Like legs back there, like a crawl.
First time I've seen that doing that one. On that grenade. I like it.
Try it. I don't know.
Yeah.
That might work.
If it doesn't work, it was Dizzle's idea. He told me to try it.
You'll get a better scissor job next time.
Yeah, it was pretty awful. Well, it's the tiny, I mean, these are meant for cutting. These are way in back. So these are meant for cutting bread.
Let's see here.
What else were the questions? There was a good one I saw up. We can go over the who has the longest index finger. That's going to be Mike for sure. He's 6'4". I didn't realize. Oh, maybe not.
Your index finger may be bigger.
I'm about I have decent sized hands. They're about the same length or about exactly the same. Dizzle's got little tiny fingers. Let's see yours. Oh, so small. Look at that. Look at
Get out of here.
I'll call you little finger Dizzle.
Let's see here. What other questions we got, folks?
Yeah, get the questions rolling here. We got Mike with the Thunderhawk makins and the thinkins in here.
Let's see.
How about for fishing? Let's talk fishing quick. What was your favorite way to catch them? Oh, I didn't even think of that. So here's one. This is going to be in a video. I'm not going to spoil it. So Mike, I actually learned a bunch. So what did I say? One of my things I wanted to focus on the beginning of the year was a tube. Specifically, this is going to be the stupid uncle tube, but your stupid tube rig, you know, where it's weedless, or I've actually fished the Ned tube. He showed me a way to rig it. I'm not going to spoil it on here because you need to see it up close, but a way to fish this without having to take, and specifically with these, if it's a tube that's too, I guess, well, any injection molded tube. If it's one that's got too much salt in it, it's not going to work. But with this one, a way to rig and unrig it without having to cut your line each time. So that was pretty damn slick. But watching him fish a tube, I learned a bunch from movements, because to me, I don't know about you, but like a tube in the old days for me was just like a Ned rig, you know, popping it. Watching him almost swim it, pop it, you know, through the grass and stuff. Was that your favorite way to catch him this one?
It usually is. Especially up here.
He's good with it.
A lot of the tubes and subtleties and ideas that right on this lake over the years, and just created, even some of the colors you see were created up here.
Let's see, Calvin, question, your opinion on using a Dobbin Sierra 734 fast for finesse jigs. The Sierras are a little bit soft, I think. I think it would work fine as long as you don't go with too heavy of a hook, is what I would say. As long as it's a decently thin wire, you should be fine. Lucas asked, Mike, out of all of your stuff, what is your favorite bait and what color? And then I'm going to say all time too. I'm going to give you that one. All time, not your stuff. Your all time favorite ever bait fishing where you were like, this thing is so good.
One of my favorites all time was actually I need to fix or make better was the Norman thin end. I used to go to Canada with Big Daddy. I would take spinner baits, are another one of my favorites of all time. Spinner baits, I would take a handful of spinner baits, a handful of same color lipless, and a thin end. And then I love original silver buddy and gold. You'll see some of the stuff we created. So I go to Canada every year. I go to Canada, Big Daddy, at least once, twice a year. Spinner baits, lipless baits, a Norman thin end, and a silver buddy. And I can cover just about all water column with that. And I cover just about every cover I saw with that too.
Mhm.
You'll see a lot of inspiration for my stuff came from the fishing those 4 things.
What about your line? Like, if you could pick one thing out of your line of stuff, what's your one favorite?
The Sergeant.
Sergeant, lipless.
Yeah, I'm most proud of that more than anything. The A10 I'm very, very proud of, but the Sergeant, I fished lipless since I was young, and I've fished it thousands of them over the years. And
What's your favorite color? Did I ask you that already? What's your favorite out of them?
The new Ghost Shad.
Oh yeah, this one. I gotta test this one out. And in the water, it's like a bone. It's not gonna show up very well here in the light, but it's like a bone, transparent, with purple highlights, kind of darker toward the top. So it's like that shiner color. Yeah, and it kind of gets into a little bit of a hint of chartreuse, but that color is thick.
When I first opened up that color, I tied it on because my go-to color for the weekend got stolen by a slimy, stinky pike. So I tied the Ghost on. And the first thing that I noticed,
Story time.
the first thing that I noticed, it almost looks like it glows in the dark. Just because it's got that chartreuse kind of color underneath is the best way for me to describe it. It looks like it would, if you get something that glows in the dark, it has that little, hue of it in there. And when I was tying it on, I was like, is this thing glow in the dark? And then you get it in the light a little bit better and you can see the colors coming through. It's super cool color.
Speaking of lures, real quick before I forget, Perry, one of the other gentlemen up here that come to meet us, he makes tube jigs and helping out here. He's been friends with Mike for a long time, but they were out. We were out fishing. I was me, Mike, and Dizzle together. Go around this corner, and all of a sudden we hear this fish with something rattling in his mouth. And Mike's like, "Was that you?" And I was like, "No, I haven't even cast. I'm back here fixing my lure." So we come back and find out that Perry had hooked a fish, broke it off with a rattling Sergeant, and that fish ended up coming up like an hour
Hour or two later.
or something later. Come up and try to throw it. Now this was after we had like a half hour of poltergeist strangeness.
Yeah, there's weird stuff going on.
I started asking Mike if he'd ever seen Bigfoot, and he said, no, not except for when Dizzle come lumbering through the door in the morning. But as soon as we said that, the stereo started going on and off, crackling.
In my boat.
Yeah, his trolling motor, the lights wouldn't work. The trolling motor stopped. What else?
Just freakishly weird stuff.
It was strange as heck.
And that fish jumps
Yeah.
out of nowhere. Jeez.
And I said, after that, I said, I believe.
Yeah.
And
That's real. I'm sorry.
I knew we were in trouble when you guys came here. Something was weird was going on. And I've seen turkeys up here all the time. But you guys flushing turkeys, and it flew over our cabin as you drove up here. 2 turkeys flew. This is a 2-story cabin. Flew over and roosted in a tree 50 feet in the air. I've never seen that in camp ever before. I knew something was weird's about ready to happen. So hang on.
You mean luck? We brought.
That's what it was. Luck.
How many in the driving we pulled up?
No, probably 8 or so. Yeah,
Yeah.
8, 10, something like that.
I never seen a turkey go fly through the camp like that before. And it stayed in a tree.
Yeah, the Bass with Big Malone said it's going to be the Loch Bass monster.
Yeah.
But the weirdest thing really made me a little nervous when my stereo started coming off and on and playing that poltergeist stuff in the background.
It sounded like a cannon. It would go boom. It was
Yeah.
like,
Now, when I went to it, it was off. The radio was off in the settings.
Gremlins.
yeah, gremlins, boat gremlins.
So then that started a whole hour worth of stories after that.
Let's see. Michael had a question because we've got some of the typos back there, but Michael said, any plans on expanding the rods to include a more entry-level or budget-friendly series? Well, Michael, if you do look at the website, they have a $100.
We have $100 and $150 ones right now.
Yep. Tyco is kind of his creme de la creme. I know it's expensive, $279, but that's all he brought for us to fish with.
Mm.
And it's every bit of it. Like he was saying, you can even talk about this, his design and everything, easily be a $400 rod. And it's a great rod. So you can talk about that, making those your.
And that was, again, a passion. I've worked in the industry for a long time. I was actually
Yeah.
a sales rep.
I'd say talk about who you worked with for this,
I
the
worked-
knowledge you got from people.
Yeah, I never will talk bad about them ever. I just learned a ton from them. Temple Fork Outfitters, a guy by the name of Rick Pope was the founder of Temple Fork Outfitters. And I was a sales rep for him back when I was still chief of police working. And I was on the pro staff, and it was a unique job. Pro staff they'd send me all over the country just to sell rods at a show. And I learned a ton, and still today credit Rick Pope for teaching me a ton about rod building. And then what I learned from him, I applied a lot of things. But then also his team that he had, was a symbol of ambassadors that he called them. It included the likes of Gary Loomis himself, Flip Hallett, Lefty Cray, Larry Dahlberg, to name a few. And it was unbelievable the knowledge. So he called me and asked me to come to every national function they had, whether it be a sales meeting or a big event at a show somewhere. And I just absorbed it like a sponge, how to build quality fishing rods. And so when I was with Hawk, we came up with some ideas, and I've had this in my head for a long time. Rick taught me a lot, even how the mandrel works, how to put, it's not so much about the high-end components, it's how you put the components together to make them high-end.
How they're woven and how the different layers.
So what we've done with this rod, if I had more of a name recognition, I really believe that rod should be at $400. But also with Hawk, like again, we want people fishing. And I know with that rod, and I truly believe in my heart that I can go up against anybody with that rod. And they're not going, it's not $100 rod. I won't ever claim to be a $150 rod, but it goes right in that price point. You can actually afford to go fishing with it. In today's economy and the way things are, the cost of things, we think it's very reasonable. And we put the highest components we could possibly fit and keep it at that $279 price point. And we're proud of it. And it's showing in our sales. Wherever we take it to show somebody at a show or an event, they buy one. 9 out of 10 times so far, and I'm pretty proud. They come back and buy another one within a month. It's that good of a rod.
Yeah, you said with the Tyco series, you were saying when we were out today that you put those things to the paces when you're testing them.
Oh.
You were hook sets to the moon, the whole nine, just beating them up, and they said that they last.
This is the lake. We're at the lake he invited us to, where he does a lot of his lure testing and rod building. Now, I was going to ask you before I forgot, is it short for Ticonderoga?
Yeah, Ticonderoga, New York. And USS Ticonderoga is the CG-47 was the ship I was on.
Yep. Okay. That was my guess.
As a tribute to the guys I served with on USS Ticonderoga.
Yes. Thank you. Hat tip to all them.
Mm-hmm.
Those who are, have, and will serve.
Thank you.
Here. There was another question I was looking for. Yeah. People saying, holy crap. Flip and Lefty fly fishing royalty. Gary Loomis, yeah, everybody knows him from the Loomis stuff, was the best at rod building. I've still got an old 30-year-old Loomis. Yeah, I mean, they make some great rods.
And again, I thank Rick Pope for all that. That what they exposed me to and the lessons they told me was unbelievable. Spent hours and hours and hours with the guy.
So this one, I'll let Mike, what are we at for time? Coming up on an hour here. What do we have for people? We've got $200 gift card giveaways, so y'all better get the numbers up. I always tell y'all, don't be.
Where are they at now, number-wise?
I don't know. Let's see.
143.
143. It's a Friday night. Friday nights are tough.
It is Friday, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a track of time.
It's weird. I'll have Mike tell you about this one. Then we're going to do a number guess here, because since we're on Dizzle's, I'm StreamYard Live on mine. I can't do the giveaway deal. So we'll have Dizzle pick a number between like 1 and 50. And as soon as he sees it on ours, okay? As soon as he sees it on our end, I don't want arguing. Well, mine showed mine first. As soon as he sees the number. Now, just to let you know, must be present twin. You're going to have to email me, and no Canada. So this is continental U.S. only.
Sorry.
I know. Sorry, my Canadian brethren. They don't ship to Canada because for the same thing, it costs $700 million to ship stuff.
Little Rich, no early guessing.
Yeah, no early guessing. Damn it.
We'll let you guys know when it's time to
It's
guess.
going to go at start. But I'll Mike tell you about this one. Honestly, I don't fish these. This even scares me, even trying to throw this a 3/4 ounce blade. But I'll Mike tell you about these for the guys that fish deeper. It's a really cool looking blade. I'll tell you that. I've not seen one like this. I have an old, I want to say like cicada blade or something they called it. It was kind of like this, but yeah, blades are not my deal, but the colors are sick as hell on them. We've already got people guessing numbers. Please wait for your number guesses. We're going to roll that in a second.
So even if you guess the number, right
It's
now,
going to be right when we say start.
and then.
So anyway, tell them about the blades quick.
I love fishing blades. Again, my top 4 baits that I always go to Canada with, or the Glacier Lakes with, or even down south, Dale Hollow, where the Holy Grail was.
Dale Hollow.
was created with the silver buddy. I've always fished them. But I noticed too over the years, I like the vibration it gives off. I fish them traditionally, but untraditionally. You know, Billy Westmore, when he first came out with them, said, if you're not hitting rocks, you're not catching smallmouth. So the whole idea with that, I fish them like a crankbait, cast them to the bank and reel them in. I'll slow roll them on the bottom, occasionally give them a pop. But no, I noticed over time, the problem with it was it would flatten the nose out, and then you lose the action of the blade bait. So again, our philosophy is right out of the package. It's fishable. It's got the great hooks on it, and we wanted a little bit bigger ones because also we talked to Bass Geek. We talked to guys ledge fishing, Bass Geeks down there in Dale Hollow area and the deep lakes. Also ledge guys.
His shallow fishing is like 25 to 30 feet per shallow.
So we started out at 3/4 ounce all the way to 1.5 ounces. And these things are made however you want to fish a traditional blade bait, but it's the right size. It's big and it's heavy, but it's not overbearing. You can notice this a 3/4 ounce, the head.
Yeah, honestly, looking at it, reading 3/4 doesn't look that bad up close.
And you can cast them a mile, but don't be afraid of because they give off so much vibration that 3/4 ounce, you can actually fish it somewhat shallow.
I'm gonna have to try some. I know I was seeing if my buddy Philip Cheek was in here. We were talking
It's
about
called the Hawkeye,
fishing some of these.
believe it or not, even though it's not an Iowa Hawkeye, but it's called a Hawkeye.
Close enough. I might have to steal some just for
And I'll
that.
give you an idea. Again, we create everything I create. I get paramilitary and all this inspiration was something I seen. When we were over in the Persian Gulf, the Midway, USS Midway aircraft carrier had Hawkeye planes. And the Hawkeye, where they were command and control planes.
Yep, the radar.
The radar on top. Well, when you fold up a Hawkeye airplane to fit on an aircraft carrier on the deck, the wings come up.
Oh, cool.
Right.
See?
So I got the inspiration from the Hawkeye, something I saw out in the ocean that flying around was the Hawkeye. When I created this, I'm like, that's a Hawkeye.
You also said you wanted to have one of the best blade baits ever made, so you thought, why not name it after the best college team?
Well, that's
So I appreciate that too.
Caitlin Clark. Yeah.
Hey, absolutely.
But you'll notice on here what we did. This is again, I got ideas from everywhere, all kinds of other baits and stuff. I've changed it.
About like when you said reeling it in, do you change the?
I leave it right in the middle, but again, it's like everything else, tinkerers. Okay.
These have
I have
six different holes in there. He's got it set on the middle one. You probably can't see that very well.
And so what that is, you could change depths with it and the angle of attack, if you will, how it flutters. And what we did on the bottom, again, going back to the old silver buddies, I would hit them so hard on so many rocks, they would only last me a day because they flattened the nose out. So what I did, I put a piece of hardened steel in the center of it, the lip.
Right there, yeah.
So when it touches and hits the bottom, it doesn't get flat.
It's hitting steel instead of smashing away.
And you also notice it won't show up on camera that the eyes, we made it pretty cool. We made the pupil of the eye is an actual fish. So that's just something that doesn't catch any fish, but it catches fishermen.
It's fun. Yeah.
And then so we also created the Hawkeye, and the weight is right on them too. So a quick look, you can put them, although you can kind of tell, I know we talked to Bass Geek, he was super excited about the 1.5 ounce one. And I fished 3/4 ounce most of the time. And I think it's going to hit a home run from the people we showed them to initially before. They're coming out too. They're already on the website right now. You can buy them tonight with that discount code. Give a couple of them a shot. Here's my all-time, again, Dizzle. Going to be hard for you to believe, but my favorite color is gold. This is an absolute smallmouth slayer. If you're fishing rock and you're fishing spring, summer, fall, whatever, and they got smallmouth in your lake, throw that gold and beat the crap out of the rocks with it. It'll crush them.
We, Debo and I kicked around the idea of tying one of those on. I personally was scared. That's too big of a lure for my comfort zone. Debo said something similar to
I like the idea, like Mike was saying. I was checking to see if my buddy Philip was on. He's been throwing them. He's like, dude, just run them slow like a lipless. That's in cold water. And I'm like, I've always, from the bank, for us bank anglers, you throw them from the bank, and I was always taught, like my dad, you let it hit the bottom, you jig it up. That's when you get the bites. well, you fish it from the bank and 2 or 3 in, you know, you're screwed.
Yeah.
So fish it more like a lipless up off.
Then you'll be just interesting with these. Watch your rod tip when you start reeling them, retrieve them. Your rod tip is a flutter, the vibration. It is unbelievable the amount of vibration, and the smallies feel that.
Well, let's do a giveaway.
Yeah.
Let's do a $100 gift card. That Mike, this was not me begging him. This was him nice enough. The Thunderhawk crew was nice enough to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do guess number now between 1 and 50.
Mm-hmm.
The first time Dizzle sees it,
Got the number
you have the
in
number.
my head.
Okay.
And I'm watching.
So the first one that he sees here. So this will be a gift card. You can go out, buy whatever you want. Do your deal.
1 through how many did you say? Holy
1 through
shit.
50.
Hold on. Oh my God. Oh God.
Scroll back up and look.
Yeah, I'm not yet. Really close. Really close. Oh, Jesus. Really close. Oh. Yeah.
That's number. Okay.
Yeah, we're still looking. Maybe 1 through 50 next time.
Yeah, maybe I do like 1 through 25. That's right there.
Oh, yep. Yeah, who is that? Oh, stop. What?
Matty Rups. Matty Rups. You are the winner. So I just need you to send me an email. Dizzle can type it in here. DEBO'S fishing at gmail.com.
And what we'll do is give him a way to contact us and hook up with Uncle Steve and give him $100 or whatever he needs out of our inventory.
Whether it's code, will it be like
All right.
electronic code? Or
Yeah, we'll help him figure it out.
Okay. So yeah, I'll proof you. So you just need to send it to me so I know it's you with a screenshot of your YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So I know it's you. And that should be it. And I'll put you in contact with Mike. It was 4. The number was 4. So I don't think we missed. Go up and double check.
I don't believe that we did.
We'll do a lower number next time. That's my bad. I just
1 through 174,268. Yes.
go.
No.
What else? What other questions do we got while we're sitting here, Mike? Do you have anything? Yeah, this is a cool one. So I would have put money. The bite was just kind of silly. I think it was really that slow 2 bite if we would have focused more on that. But when the first day was 15 to 20 mile an hour with 35 mile an hour gusts and just beat the piss out of us, I would have put money with the clarity of the water here because it was very clear that this would have been the deal. This is their 80 size, which I didn't even know they made this one. 1/4 ounce. It's the 80 size, so 80 millimeter. Little jerk bait was awesome.
In our slash baits that we have, all sizes come with a magnetic weight transfer system in it. Even that little one right there is a magnet in it for the casting distance.
Yeah, that one's cool. I've shown you guys the bigger ones. There's not one here, but it's just essentially. Oh,
It's right in front of your face.
yeah. Well, I can't see it in my glasses then. I've shown you guys this one, but that little one I really like. And I'm not. Dizzle said, "Ooh, I like that small one." I'm usually not a small jerkbait guy, but I think for some of the small spots around us, I think that kind of little finesse, tricky size might be the deal.
Yeah.
Especially this time of year with smaller bait fish.
I just get scared of sticky hooks. And I remember the first day we went out there, I had a jerkbait rod leaned up against my legs. I thought about throwing that at first. And I looked down and the hooks, without me even knowing, one of the trebles had already gone through both sides of my jeans. So I had to pop the hook out. I didn't even feel, well, not that I'd feel my jeans, but I didn't even notice that it had gone through my pants. So
And with
amazing.
that, we created a jerkbait rod for our slash bait called the Slash. Again, we name a lot of our new rods.
BA rod.
Yeah, it's 6'7", and I put it up against any jerkbait rod on the planet.
It's a sick little rod. It's soft, but it's not too soft to where it's, you got that noodle at the end. You want it to stop. That's the big thing with the jerkbait is ding, ding, and then just sit there. Yeah, the rod is sick. Mike, I'm guessing the answer is no. Mike, are you considering making a plopper style lure?
No, and out of respect to Larry Dahlberg,
Go buy a
I'll buy a
whopper.
Whopper Plopper. It's the best one on the planet. I would not top anything that. He
What
makes.
does question for Mike? What does Mike recommend for a grassy Minnesota lake for this fall? I need to add some stuff to my cart. I think we
Definitely.
just nailed it.
Yeah, whatever you just saw. I would,
Don't come to this lake.
I would start about, get you half a dozen packages of the Stupid Uncle. Pick you up that gold blackback lipless and the silent on a grass lake, especially.
Yeah.
The Hawkeye on a grass lake, I wouldn't recommend so much. If you got rock, the Hawkeye for sure. Pick you up with some split ring pliers that you saw, and that way you got to change stuff out, or you cut your braid. The line, it's $5. But I would definitely start. Where about in Minnesota? Did he say there's a big difference in lakes in Minnesota, north, south, or east? And
We just
really,
said grassy Minnesota lake in the fall.
grassy, I would definitely lipless in the tube, and then I would also look at the grunt. Grunt goes to grass pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, that was great.
In the grunt, don't, like I've said a million times before, just because it's a jig that's meant to bounce across the bottom doesn't mean that you can only bounce it across the bottom. We proved today that you could,
No secret in grassy Clear Lake in Minnesota. A couple guys are going to get very upset when I said this, but the Kissimmee gill and whatever trailer you're using, use the Kissimmee gill, trim it down, use watermelon red flake, tip the whatever plastic you got on the back, a little bit of chartreuse.
That's exactly what I did today.
It
I was
looks
using,
just like the bluegill up in Minnesota.
That's
It's
what I was
just like.
using. Yep, that's what I caught all mine on
The one
today.
you bullied me with when you caught it.
What?
You said he shot out.
But the
Throwing that.
Oh, yeah.
the Stupid Uncle tube, definitely dove snot. I don't know how I came up with that. Dove snot.
This dove color was catching a snot at him.
There's one called Minnesota Special, the color. And
Oh,
also
the golden shiner.
Golden Shiner today. I showed that one to him. Golden Shiner.
I couldn't believe it. I would have said you're not going to catch fish on that color. It's
We-
black, gold.
I would stick
glitter.
to those three colors would do you about anywhere in Minnesota. Dove snot, Golden Shiner, and Minnesota Special.
There's a question, I think it was the Hawkeye, the golden Hawkeye you said was great for smallmouth, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yep, so that's gonna be the Hawkeye lure.
Guys
Fancy.
also love
Yep.
this one for walleyes up here.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, for sure.
Then we have a great colors. We got bone colors. We got white. We got we got this crazy orange springtime.
Red craw or red orange craw.
Hang on.
People are
Yeah,
asking if you're going to do anything BFS. I think this is going to be a perfect little lipless for BFS. Now, remember,
18 Junior too.
oh yeah, either of those. I'm not your typical BFS. This is going to be, I'll bet this one quarter,
3/8.
3/8. 3/8, but the size is perfect for if you've got, just a BFS with like 6-pound line. Again, I'm not into the ultra micro BFS, but just smaller stuff. This one probably won't be as hard, but something like that. If they don't have, I don't know. Have you thought about doing any BFS? Like,
We are kicking around ideas. I know, again, we got like power finesse, lots of stuff. The tube, the A10, the 80.
yeah, this you could throw this
Yeah.
on.
We thought about some ideas, but we're I hate to say it, and we know what catch fish, and I'm not to get against anything else, but we want to make sure it's not a fad.
Right.
It's great because I know guys that created a whole rod line of BFS.
Especially if your background's not that. It's like, hey, let's just jump into this. We've never done it. Or
I don't have enough experience in creating BFS lures yet, and until I do more research into it, I'd say no, and just because I don't want to do something half-assed.
right.
You know?
That makes sense. Chris, my buddy Chris was asking not only what kind of rod, but also when would you throw that rat Benny?
Oh, the Rat Benny. That I would throw in springtime, also middle summer, and then late fall. When again I change colors. Springtime I throw the bluegill color or anywhere around beds or fish or
Oh, that
spawning.
makes sense. Yep.
I would throw the black when it's darker outside or
Low light.
stained water, low light.
Night, like the old
Night.
jitterbug.
It works great at night. It creates a lot of vibration, and it's black. And then, but I would throw the bone. I throw it in the shad spawn, and I've also thrown it in the late fall when the shad are doing their thing and the bass are coming to the back of creeks. I would definitely throw it in.
And what kind of rod do you use for that one? Because that's just got one treble hook. Is that right?
I would throw that on a number of different things. I would say any medium, heavy, moderate, fast. I wouldn't go super noodly.
It's got a size 2 hook.
Yeah, size 2 on it. So I would say, again, your favorite, medium, heavy, moderate, fast, whatever you're comfortable with. Something has a little bit of bend to it, but not too sloppy.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Oh, okay. What do you got? Has anyone tried, Patrick Fahey, has anyone ever tried putting rattles in plastic worms? Yeah, a lot of companies actually make them that way. The Guggen Ned Rig, one that I think was the first I ever seen in a Ned bait, one of their best baits. There's other ones. Otherwise, you can always add it on your own. Z-Man actually makes a pretty cool, it looks like a horse hypodermic needle, like a big thick needle. And it's got a plunger in it, which inserts the rattle. So you stick it in just like it's just like a needle. If you look at like a barbecue injector thing, it's basically like that. It's basically a barbecue injector. Yeah. Stick it in, you put it in. So you can do that with your own rattles. You can do it in worms or crawls, whatever.
I've seen a bunch of them, the glass ones or brass ones. You stick them right in the plastics and just got to make sure when you do that, little piece of advice, you want to watch out and impede the hook set. Meaning you don't want to travel of the hook in the plastic.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I've bought rattles before, and they were actually little glass vials, I guess you would call them.
Yeah.
And those you have to be careful.
They'll break.
Injecting. Yeah. If you try to put those in a more dense plastic, you could break those and end up with a thumb.
Glass is, in my opinion, actually the best sounding, but they're the most fragile, obviously.
Yeah.
But then they do break a lot. Just got to be careful with them.
Yeah, Patrick said that was the rattler I was thinking of, the Z-Man one. Let's see. N Stone, is it Nathan? I think it was Nathan Stone, right? Question: does Mike have plans for any more plastics?
That's a great question.
We were just talking about
our conversations. Let me see what the new year brings. That's all I can say. Yes and no. We do have some really cool stuff online right now. The Little Bird, which I don't have. Little Bird is our drop shot bait.
Oh yeah, great.
I didn't bring him up here because I knew DEBO'S fascination with drop shot.
Yeah.
But again, I knew what would be anyway. But those are on there right now. The short answer is no. But I'm gonna wait to see what the first year brings.
Mike has an interesting one. Mike, to other Mike, any thoughts about an L-shaped bill on a crankbait for cutting through grass? So would that be like the hybrid grass deal from Strike King? Is that what he's saying? Where the bill comes down and goes?
That's a big debate about that crankbait.
Yeah, I don't know.
6 Cents has one as well.
Oh, okay.
You look at one of the original shallow Rapalas had it.
Oh yeah, they did.
Shallow
I
Rapalas
forgot all
had
about
it.
that.
That
one and the one that was cut. What was the one that had like the cut?
I cannot remember, but the one of mine that goes back to one of the originals I saw was a shallow Rapala, and that's one. If you ever find a size 8 shallow Rapalas, call Mike Dove, and I'll buy everyone.
JT Fishing said, Dizzle, it won't let me use the Uncle Steve 20 code.
Yeah, we've already seen it work tonight.
What
said they've
JT,
already had some come through.
What's the issue? Is it giving you an error or what? Is it all lowercase, all uppercase, case? Oh, okay, all lowercase. Sorry. Do a Uncle Steve all lowercase 20.
We've already got some orders.
Yeah. So others are saying it's worked.
Pat Fahey, Dizzle's Fishing. Any drag shenanigans since DEBO'S been around?
Hey,
both of these.
I haven't had any issues. It was all Mike. I think that was the day that Mike and DEBO were out on the same boat together, and Mike, crazily enough, had issues with his drag.
It was crazy.
The people want to know, DEBO.
I lost that same day. I don't know. Again, I thought it was the UFOs or Sasquatch. I don't know what's going on, but I pride myself in casting abilities and back-to-back backlashes with gold lipless break going flying across the lake. So I retied it, put it on another, and I did the same thing 2 casts in a row. I have no idea what the hell's going on. I just put it down, said, I'm done.
Mike says, Mike threw it, cast it off. He goes, I can't believe I backflashed it. He says, like, this thing never backflashes. Ties it on, does it again, and watches it and goes, boy, those really fly far when they're connected to line. and then looks at me and goes, I just tied that SOB on. You want to take a break?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's probably a good time now. Let's see. Mike, question. How soon can we expect the 4th ounce grunt?
Soon.
Yeah.
The others, I think you said, are coming out around Black Friday,
Yeah.
the smaller
Yeah.
lipless.
I would say that hopefully by the first of the year, before the show start, we're hoping.
Let's see. Question. Since you're actually, here's a good one. Mike, question. Since you're actually in the room together, is it possible for Dizzle to finally grab a hold of DEBO'S neck and pay him back for all the verbal assaults? Listen, you can ask Mike, you can ask any of the Thunderhawk boys up here. He verbally assaults me all the time
Oh my God.
and then hides it when there's transparency, like these lives. He plays dumb.
There's been a lot of shenanigans behind the scenes, let me tell you.
It's all in good fun.
Yeah, it's beforehand. Mike was saying, "God, thank God we're doing this live so we can get you guys out of here." He didn't know I was listening. I said, "What was that, Mike?" Oh,
Hey, you guys are
you
great.
guys are nice. Hang out.
Kevin Clark, Iowa rules.
Are there any restrictions for the discount code? Any items that are restricted?
Buy as much as you want.
Okay, so
Damn good deal.
lures, all lures. And
Oh, we have one more. Give me a new. I know we're coming up in the holidays. Go back. I'm bottom. On the
Ooh,
bottom.
yeah.
Oh yeah, the bag. Mike gave us a couple bags to take home, which are pretty sweet.
Yeah. Does the discount code work for the Tyco rods?
Yes, absolutely.
All rods? Okay.
Absolutely.
Oh, rods too.
Free shipping on the rods too.
Okay. JT, let us know. Try all lowercase. Or whoever is having issues.
If not, hit us
Still-
up after and we
Yeah.
can work with Mike.
Yeah.
If it's not
We'll
working.
get it worked out for you.
So this is a little go bag. This thing's pretty sweet. Y'all have seen like the one that I got on Amazon forever ago. But same thing, right? It's just your little day bag where I've got my little 3600. Will this fit a 3600?
3,500 probably.
35. So yeah, I mean, you could throw a couple of the 34s in here too, the sideways.
Also been known to hold a Glock.
Oh, well, there you go. If you have a pew pew, perfect for a couple of those in there. Your front, but yeah, it's just like your little. Obviously, you're not going to throw a crap ton in here, but
I like personally.
yeah, they're pretty sweet.
What I was
Little
using this
strap
bag
deal.
for, show the front again there, Debo. This little pocket right here, does great for GoPro batteries that are dead. I burned through a bunch of those out here. Just throw those in there, not going to lose them. Not going to accidentally put them in your pocket and go
And it's-
pull something out and loop in the water.
And the best thing about it's not JDM, so it sells for $20.
Yeah, $20.
$20.
Yeah,
And your
perfect.
discount code, you get $4 off that.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, $16 bag. Mantuba or Matuba. How about, can you talk about your mouse jig? It's very effective through the grass.
Yep. It's actually a swim jig we have called Mouse Head.
Oh, mouse head.
Yeah, it's a real light wire hook. It's got a mouse head in it. If you look at it, it looks like cheeks of a mouse, and it's straight on line tie. It goes to your grass really good. We got 1/4 and 3/8 ounce.
Mike wants to know where your coffee's at.
What? Who?
Wyatt.
Wyatt made a comment.
Wyatt.
Hey, where's your coffee?
Right here, Wyatt. Thank you. Uncle Steve hooked me up. Smart ass.
Okay, let's see. We'll do this question, then we'll do the next $100 gift card. Question: what spinning rod would you suggest? Dobbins Fury, Tatula XT, or a Tyco? Well, we know Mike will be
I'm a little biased.
biased here. So, okay, so if you're looking at $100 spinning rods, which the Tyco doesn't fit, Dobbins Fury or Tatula XT, both great rods. I've been having fun with the XT. You can't go wrong with either, honestly. Let's
Or
see,
you
did
just spend some extra money and buy a Tyco, $20, 20% off too. That's 40, 80. That's $56 off tonight.
Yeah,
So $225, you got a new Tyco.
that's a good deal. Yeah, no, that's what I was throwing my tube on. I got made fun of because I was fishing the Fairy one, but it's a great rod. I like that one for the tubes. Ned rig. I was fishing. Actually, I caught a couple the first day on the Ned tube, which was something kind of interesting that Mike hadn't seen. Was taken. We've got guys in the Mississippi that fish it that way, like an EWG, the Ned heads that I make, and just rig up a tube on it. So it's just essentially your tube. You don't put it inside of it or anything. Just Texas rig it like you would your plastic. So the head weight is up here, and then just expose it. So kind of a cool little.
Just a little
Switch.
quick.
Yeah,
Fun.
what's about them?
This new Tyco rod, we actually have an SU, it's called. The model, it's for stupid uncle tube fishing. And it's for little light jigs and whatnot, but this is, as you saw, this is my go-to close quarter battle rod. It's 7-foot medium, but I'll tell you, you saw what it can do. I can put it on a dime in the back of a dock.
Pretty close.
My biggest on that prototype was down in Kissimmee.
Yeah, it doesn't show, but it's a 7-foot medium, moderate, fast. Yeah, and it's a great doodle. 1/4 to 5/8. Whoever was asking about a finesse jig rod, right there. Perfect.
It's a shorter handle. It's got power. My biggest on that rod so far, the prototype is a 12.5 on Kissimmee on a tube jig.
12.5, in case you were wondering, Mike's PV.
I've said in
It's
other
almost half
lives.
as big as mine.
Yeah.
Oh wait, that's twice as big as my PV. Yeah.
We just got to go further south.
I've
I'll be
said
down in Texas next month too, by the way, doing some R&D on the new lakes.
I've said before, I'm not a huge fan of cork handles.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
something
show that.
about
I didn't even
these-
notice this. Dizzle brought this up. I didn't even notice.
something about these cork handles. One of them being the actual cork itself. I guess I've probably been really used to like a cheap or cheaper type of cork. This feels. It doesn't even feel like cork necessarily. It feels more like a fabric on the top.
It's kind of like a softer cork.
Yeah.
I think would be.
It's soft, but it's not like you're gonna damage it a whole lot. Yeah.
So anyway, the one thing, Dizzle, Dizzle's the guy that says I have to get my hands on stuff. That's why he doesn't like to buy online.
Mm-hmm.
He said I really like the handle on those, the way it tapers like a baseball bat. I said I didn't even notice that. It does. Fits nice in hand.
Yep.
And I got a taper to it.
Definitely.
Okay, let's do our next $100 gift card. So this time we're gonna go 1 through 20. You got one?
Yep, got it.
Okay, he's got it. 1 through 20. The first one we see on here. What do we have for numbers too?
Go. Time to watch
Deal.
this. And
Mike said that's informative because I don't love cork handles. Yep. Some people don't. That's all
oh,
preference.
jeez.
You will have your fish this one.
Right there, we got it.
What is it? I
The
don't know.
number
Did it
was
show me?
8.
8. Paco Wash. Paco's always in here.
Paco.
Paco. So you'll need to.
Where's Paco from?
I don't know.
Paco.
I met a guy named Paco.
Paco, where are you from? If you're one of our Canadian brethren up north, talk to your Canadian people on shipping because we can't ship up there.
Google.
Talk to your
Your email address? Gmail.
Hmm?
Gmail is your.
Yeah, DEBO'SFishing@gmail.com. So Paco, you'll need to email me a screenshot of your YouTube so I know it's you.
Ohio, Paco was from.
Ohio.
I know.
Ohio.
So I will hook you up with their information after I verify you.
Yep.
Because we do have the sneaky snakes trying to get free stuff saying, hey, I won. And I say, oh, hey, can you share me your YouTube? And they're like, oh, wait, no, I thought I won, but I didn't. I'm sorry. And it's like, come on, you. Okay, so we got our 2 winners. What other questions do we have?
Yeah. Let's
Like I said, we might have a special surprise after this. We'll see. What do we have for numbers? How many people we got in here?
let's see.
Do we have 200? Did we cross 200 yet?
You want,
Friday nights
you want to
tough.
put a bet on?
No, I don't think so. Friday nights are hard.
Come on now. Oop. That's not right. Let's refresh that.
145 showed. 142, Gator says. 146.
46. 123 likes. Likes are getting up there.
We might not hit the 200. Friday nights are a tough lag time. People are out partying, doing all that stuff. Oh, he does, Chris. That was one of my favorite colors. Chris says, do you have a root beer, A10, or a Sergeant? I don't have the Sergeant
We
here.
have the sergeant's number here.
Yeah, but that's one of my favorite colors. Chris makes fun of me because I call it root beer, not root beer.
Rut beer.
Yeah, we got to talk
hello.
about that before. It's root beer.
Yeah, root beer is what you meant. Bass and Big Mullet, you just missed it. Mike said his PB is 12 pounds what?
12.5.
12 pounds, 5 ounces, which is an absolute tank. Mike, here's a fun one also from Mike. Given that you've fished across the country, what does he feel is the most effective means to find fish? So if you're looking around, like, is it structure? Is it the terrain, wind, shade? Like when you look for fish, and I'm sure it's different everywhere, depending on the lake, but
Totally different from region to region. But I
here's
look
the root beer color that I love.
Root beer.
one, to be honest with you, a new lake, the way I try to do is I look at maps, and then I also try not to outfish my strengths. If that makes sense.
Yep.
I fish the way I fish, and I've caught myself over time trying to fish the way everybody else says you need to fish other lakes. So I go, to be honest with you, I start hitting shallow. I go to riprap first if I see it, because it gives me an idea what fish are doing. If I find wood, vegetation, and then I look for bait fish in that area. And not traditional color fish and sonar and all this stuff. If I go up on 2D and I see any type of movement on bait fish, I'm knowing in the right area. Start there. And that's what I generally look for. It's kind of caveman style of fishing, and I've seen it time and time again, especially even up north. Some of the best lakes I've been to, if I don't see bait fish around, I don't stake around.
How about, actually, that kind of spawned a question for me. I don't remember if I asked you or not. Fishing around the country, what's been your favorite lake ever to fish?
My favorite lake ever to fish. Oh, that's a tough one. Depends on the species. Bass.
Bass, yeah, bass.
I'd say for largemouth, Lake Fork is really, really cool. And just because it's so cool and unique, and it's got the monsters. And any given time, you can catch a big one. It may not have the biggest in the country, but it's got the biggest numbers, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite smallmouth body of water is the very north channel of Lake Huron in Ontario, coming outside the Spanish River. Just because them smallmouth up there are just absolutely dumb.
Over smallmouth, and they're mean.
Uneducated. And now the gobies have gotten the very north tip of the North Huron is where I'm fishing. Them gobies are even up there now. It's the first time I've not fished it since COVID. I was there last 2019, and me and my buddy just went back in June. Gobies are there now and unpressured. They have no idea. I actually figured out on a glass calm day, I was fishing a shad wrap, burning it, and I fished an A10 junior, burning it, right? I fished an A10 junior, burning it, and a school bass chased it from the bank, and I figured eight the side of the boat to one bit.
Oh, this figure eight. Oh, I've always said, you'll see these dudes in like Japan and some crazy lake doing this super fast. I've said always want to catch
I had me and my buddy Brett went up there. The second day I was there, we found a pocket. My best five were probably 27 pounds. Fly fish. And we had probably that day. Yeah. That day we had 30 fish over 19 inches that day alone. 19 inches.
Good Lord.
It was a blast. And that's just because nobody fishes it.
Regan has a good question. I think I know the answer, but we'll see what Mike says. Mike, what do you recommend for your Tyco rod for a chatterbait rod, specifically around grass and cover in Minnesota?
There's two of them. One, if I'm fishing close quarter, the Sergeant rod is awesome chatterbait rod, a bladed jig rod. But if you got heavy grass, vegetation.
Oh, yeah.
Where'd it go? The Sergeant rod. Right. This is one. If it's not as heavy cover, but if I want to cast a bomb into vegetation, the Hawkeye rod, hands down, is what I would recommend.
Yeah, 7.6, medium, heavy, moderate, fast. That was one Mike had sent me as a thank you. I don't know, into last year, and I finally got to use it. That was one. Rest in peace. The loss to the great kayak disaster of 2024. But that's what I was telling him. All my single hook moving baits, chatterbait, swim jig, spinner bait. It was great for all those. You can go back on my earlier videos this year when I was throwing that. It was the blueback herring. When I said, we'll fish in a lake with whatever, not this bait fish, eat it. But that was the video I was catching them on. It's awesome.
The Sergeant rod is for less cover, but close quarter. I mean, you want target casting for a chatter. That's Sergeant's hands down awesome too. But if you want a bomb cast in open areas, grass area, that Hawkeye rod's hard to beat.
Manny, I think, was asking what's the website. It's thunderhawklures.com. Dizzle's putting it in the chat right now. Yeah. Just find wood, cast to wood. Let's see. What's the best time? Oh, whoa, holy smokes.
Oh, yeah, we're good.
Wake bait. Oh, Lindsay, we talked about that a little before. What's the best time to use wake bait? I just picked up some of your rat bennies. Yeah, so like he said, early spring, the bluegill color around like bluegill beds and stuff. The black one, all black one at night. What else? I don't know.
Oh, the white during the shad spawn, or that's bone actually. Shad spawn or late or fall when they're chasing the shad in back of the coves.
Ooh, we almost did.
Ooh.
They reclaim. Mike says, Mike, when was the last time you skunked? You remember the last time you went out and didn't catch a fish and come in with your head hung?
It's been a while. Never up here. Even though this is the worst I've seen.
Yeah, this is the worst fishing. They still did pretty good. Yesterday, he was crushing them on the tube. I mean, I had only brought my Ned head rigs. I could have asked him for one, but then it's copying what he's doing. I couldn't do that. He was crushing them on the stupid tube rig, stupid uncle. I was trying the Ned rig, and it was just too heavy. I had a 3/16. 1/8 is what I used today and worked a lot better. But he was still crushing them on a day that was almost impossible on a tube. What did we have? 30? We lost count at 30 fish, which is a bad day, right? But that, what else? I was going to say something else. The stupid tube. What was I? No, what was the question? I completely lost.
Skunked, how did you react?
Oh.
And how did you respond to the next time?
Not good. It's frustrating. You spend a lot of time, effort. But up here, if I got skunked, I'd leave.
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
I break things in half.
30 fish was a horrible, one of the worst days he's ever had up here. So
did you, out of those experiences, few and far between may they be, is there anything that you would take from those, or anything that you would use kind of as a learning experience?
Get rid of it in my mind.
Yeah.
Get rid of the confidence, I call it.
Yeah.
And it's always, and I've talked about this, Uncle Steve, we were fishing down at Kissimmee Lake. I said, it's hard sometimes, you know. Good lakes are really hard, especially the big trophy lakes, that any cast could be the next one.
Yeah.
And we've seen that time and time again. But even at tournaments, I just get so down, you way overthink it. It's still fishing. And what I've seen is I totally get rid of that in my mind.
Yeah.
And just try to put it away, because I don't want to lose confidence in what I'm doing.
Right. I know one thing that we kind of also talked about in general, it isn't necessarily the amount of fish that you catch, or, did we catch our PB, or is it all dinks, or what it is. It's that time on the water. It's that water therapy. It's
all the healing power of water.
Yeah, heck yeah. But
like, I don't know about Iowa, but Indiana is not the greatest fishery in the world, right? Indiana Lake. So you get your tail kicked a lot.
Yeah.
In Indiana, and then you just got to realize this is what it is. And then you go make those good days. When I've had those 200 fish days up here.
Oh yeah.
And then, or I go to Lake Huron and catch 27 pounds, and
right.
It's just, I think if you had great days every day, they wouldn't be so great.
Yeah, that's what I said. You have to have the bad but the good, otherwise you don't respect the good.
And I learned a lot by making lures. I've learned a ton about fish by making lures. Really have, and what they like and don't like, and you just never know. And it all depends on the weather, location, and does big fish exist in that water?
Right. Yeah.
That's
yeah. Like you're saying, we see highlight reels on Instagram all the time. The biggest fish in your lake might be a 3-pounder. That's it. It might be topped out at 3, So
if you catch it,
go have fun.
Awesome. You caught the biggest.
You got the biggest that day.
Mike had another question for you, Mike. Mike is a good buddy of mine, Mr. Mike Vogel. If you're tied to bank fishing without a boat, what is better, casting a long distance to what is better? You're tied, yeah, what is better? Question. Casting a long distance to cover water as much as you need, or as much water as you can, or casting close and then moving down the bank?
I would say my recommendation, casting from the bank,
yeah,
get as long as you can, far as you can, cover as much water as you can. Because as you saw it here, they can be here or they can be out here.
Yep.
And I would say
now wait. But if you got super tight and you have a hard time restriction because the length of the rod doesn't do any good if you can't cast.
Right.
It's just the restrictions you're at.
Yeah, I would 100% agree. And, even more so if it's like on a pressured lake or something where the fish are super sketchy, like the farther you can be away and get your bait in front of their face without them knowing potentially it's coming from you, the better you're going to be.
With that being said, I know lipless guys, true diehard lipless guys down at Kentucky Lake. They used 8-foot rods to cast with 200 spool reels to cast as far as they can from a boat. That way, They're cover as much water as they possibly can, as distance they possibly can. 200 size with 8-foot rods. Catching lipless bait, correct baits.
Fine wood, 3-pounders. Fine wood, get lipless stuck in wood. Yeah, that will happen. That's the risk.
So you switch over to an A10 when you got wood.
Yeah, exactly. But if you're not getting snagged, you're not trying. You're fishing too safe. Ooh. Michael Bradley asked, if the boat is sinking, Mike, who are you going to save first, DEBO or Dizzle?
I can't answer that question. I'll pull a presidential debate question.
Hey.
Ask me next year.
We already talked about this. Mike wouldn't do anything. He'd just drive off and say, thank God.
I sunk a boat back fishing the Toyota series. I actually sunk a boat. So no, that's bad.
Forget the plug?
No, I split it in half.
Oh, hit something?
No, split a boat in half in a Toyota series. And so that's a bad memory. So I don't like bringing them up.
Oh, yeah.
First day opening launch.
Patrick, let's see. Each of you probably caught more fish this weekend than I will all year. I'm mediocre at best and just love the peacefulness of being on the water at 5 a.m. Also, I love collecting fishing gear. That's what I always tell people. Buying gear and like organizing lures, that's its own separate hobby in fishing. Is like just being a bait nerd. I mean, I am. I've got way more stuff than I'll ever use, but it's fun, right? You live once. Yeah. Oh, bass for Dave. Yeah. If you're fishing the chatterbait around wood, yeah, the Z-Man Cross Eyes for bank anglers is one of the best. If you're on wood and such. Yeah, he'd save. Uncle Steve's Fishing says he'd save Uncle Steve first. Uncle Steve is just right over there. So he better. He's family. Family comes first.
Uncle Steve first.
What do we got for numbers? Do we ever hit up 200? Friday nights are tough. I don't know that we will.
Friday nights are tough. 136.
136. Yeah, Fridays are a hard night. Well, let's see. We'll do a couple more questions here. We've been going a little over an hour and a half. What do we got for a couple more questions for Mike while we've got him? Anything about Thunderhawk Lures, anything about his fishing career? He's a wealth of fishing knowledge. He's fished all over the U.S., did tournaments back in the day, moved to working with rod companies to doing his own rods and lures. So whatever you got, he's got all kinds of stuff. Bassless, my buddy Bassless Chap says, DEBO, can you please talk with my wife about this? Yeah, collecting lures. If she's watching, just blame it on me. Say, I told you to buy them. Blame it on me. I'm fine taking that.
You got them on sale.
Yeah.
People saying thank you very much for the stream, guys. Friday Night Live. I know, different time, but we're actually going to be driving back tomorrow. So we came up. Mike was nice enough to house us in a beautiful cabin, feed us. So huge thank you, honestly, to all you guys.
Thank you for Garrison, Mike and Sherry Garrison's.
Yeah, I'll put a link below to Garrison's Resort because this is one that I said for my family or maybe Randy and I in the future. We'll link below because it's really nice. Like I said, I've stayed in some shady cabins in the parks, but yeah, this one's beautiful, especially if you like to glamp more.
Yeah, they got all the amenities.
Yeah, I can throw a ball down to the water down there, so you're right on it. Beautiful lake. There's an eagle nest right over here, so that we listen to the eagle in the mornings. Mike, what's a lure that has come out in the last few years that you wish that Thunderhawk had thought about and made 10 years ago, way before it? Have you ever thought about one that you're like, I have respect for that because we talked about it earlier. I bet I know what it is.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Say it.
Chatterbait.
Yeah.
Chatterbait in Alabama, well, mainly the chatterbait. I think it's affected more than any, probably.
We were just talking about that.
And they did it right, honestly. They patented the connection point, not the bait itself. It was a great idea, and everybody made fun of it when it first came out. It was actually came out in a box with a collection of different sizes, and it looked like as seen on TV.
I remember the ones, these must have been later. It came out on a card, and I think it had a little trailer in it.
Yep.
And it had the funny, writing, because it was two guys, and I think it was him and his dad.
It was genius.
Yeah, in a garage, and they were winning so much money on it, they couldn't keep up, and I think that's kind of how the story rolled to.
Brian Thrift was involved in some of the initial guys, Fred Height, doing it great with it. It's a great, you can fish that thing. Again, the same thing as a lot of I try to do in the lipless. You can fish in any water column too.
Question. Only one lure to take with you to your next lake. What would it be, Mike?
A tube, stupid uncle.
Makes sense. he was smashing them. And the thing I want to try, I've actually did a tube video with Mike that'll be coming out because some little modifications and stuff, but watching him swim it more, and I preach it all the time, change up your retrieves. Not with the stupid tube. I don't have the confidence in the stupid tube that Mike does, but between swimming it and hopping it, mixing it up, it was really cool to watch. So we'll have some fun B-roll for that.
Mike Vogel is the comedian of the hour. He says that his wife hates DEBO. His recommendations have cost us tons of money, and his biggest fear is that he's no longer with us. She'll sell it for what he told her he paid for it.
It wasn't $2
I'll help
special.
out.
Yeah.
Did he get in a dollar bin?
Let's
For a dollar, I promise.
Any of your hosts carrying a fine bench? Hey, I think we all are carrying blades. Is that what he asked?
Yeah.
Little Rich, any of your hosts carrying a fine Benchmade or similar quality? Funny enough, that's what I'm carrying. I think mine is the
I don't know.
Mine is,
Adams?
mine,
mine's the
I
Adam.
don't know if you can buy mine.
This is an oldie, no longer made Kershaw knockout.
I don't think mine's the infidel Benchmade.
Oh, you got out the front? OTF,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Ooh, we were just talking about those last
Yeah.
night. We watched John Wick.
Spider
You
codes,
can
yeah.
cut yourself because it's got a safety on it,
Mhm.
but it's double sided.
Yeah.
I was actually at a show and it engaged,
Popped out.
got me, and they are wicked sharp.
Yeah,
Yeah.
super sharp on it.
Infidel, I had to sign it through my previous employer. I had to show them my ID and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
It's nice.
Well, I think that's it. I think we're gonna get out of here. Listen, I want to thank. Oh wait,
What
what?
something else to do, don't we?
What?
We have another giveaway.
Oh, I don't know. Do you still want to do that one?
Bam.
We didn't get to our
Holy
200.
cow.
Listen, how many do we
I
still
got
have?
one number. Oh, the first one to name the number on the Tyco US, the Aegis class cruiser, the Ticonderoga.
33.
Oh, we still got 133 watching us.
The number.
Name the number on the USS Ticonderoga.
CG.
CG what? Ooh, he's gonna make you Google it.
So we're.
What else we got for questions while we're looking?
I don't know what that number is.
Oh yeah, what is it?
Okay.
So between 1 and 50, I will give you a hint.
It was for the Tyco was first of its class. And actually named it after the Tyco class.
Chris Ross.
Oh, Chris!
You knew it.
That was
Chris knew it.
47.
47.
Chris Ross.
Those are all the guys that are on there. That the ship no longer exists. They got rid of it. It was actually only 4 years old when I got on board, and now it no longer exists.
All right. Well, Chris, you are the proud winner of a rod. We will get you hooked up. I don't think. Do we have any other questions?
I don't think we have a
Rigged, dude. Jared, that's the first thing. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, if we're gonna get absolutely drilled on having this rigged. I promise. I swear on my daughter's life, we did not rig that. And no, I would not. Chris is my buddy. He's the guy I was showing you. Just got the kayak. So yeah, seems rigged, but I promise again on my daughter's life, not rigged.
Mr. Vogel said, not a question, but wanted to thank Mike for the great products and the excellent durability and quality.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for the feedback. We appreciate that.
Yeah. So I'll leave the cabin stuff here. What was it again?
Garrison's Resort.us.
Garrison's Resort. I'll leave it linked below. Really cool place. Again, thanks to Thunderhawk crew for having us up here.
And Stupid Uncle just showed
Oh
up.
yeah, and listen, the stupid uncle.
There you go.
Where is it? That it was named after. Funny enough, there's the stupid uncle. All right, we're getting out of here. I have to jump over here to turn it off. Or just do this thing behind the scenes.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye all.